She is too tired and has fallen asleep. This is Jake. A rather simple and straightforward reply. However, Henry looked at it for a long time and pondered, only to understand what the other side wanted to express. His cheerful look became gloomy. Henry sneered and tightened his grip on his phone. He was feeling so sullen that his heart was hurting. All the emotions turned into a strong force, making him smash his phone on the door. The solid wood door was immediately imprinted with a pit, and the phone broke into pieces on the floor. Henry suddenly got up and went to the study room to take out the spirits that he had been collecting for a long time. Whiskey and red wine were all out. After taking a glass of whiskey, he felt a burning sensation come straight to his throat. However, he did not feel better, but worse. Whether it was the stimulation of the alcohol or other elements, he felt his eyes were burning with a layer of mist in front of them. Jake. After taking a few more drinks, he became a little drunk and felt a stronger pain in his eyes. She had agreed to his proposal. If he had some more time, he could have taken her home for real and announced to the world that she belonged to him. But why? Why did Jake have to come back at this time? Why? Jake had been away for so many years. He had been dead for so many years. Wasn't it better for him to stay dead and never return? Why did he have to come back? To deprive him of his only happiness. If he had only been given a few more days. The more Henry thought about it, the more ridiculous he felt about himself. With his face on the table, Henry held the glass and chuckled, but the hot tears were already falling out of his eyes, leaving a burn on his heart, so fierce, so strong. It was like a drop of high-concentration sulfuric acid. When it fell, a thick smoke came up and covered his eyes, blurring his vision. Jake was back, and she was very happy. The photo on Facebook, their family of 5. They looked so good together. Her smile was so bright, with the glow of happiness so beautiful, it was mesmerizing. 4 years ago, when Jake was still there, she was smiling like that as well. Only Jake could give her such a smile. So what was Henry? Staring at the white wall across him, Henry sneered at himself. Silly. Throwing away the wine glass, he opened the lid of the liquor and poured it directly into his mouth. The thick and stimulating liquid was poured into his nose, and he was coughing so much he was in tears. The pain in his head and eyes still did not beat his heartache. In the end, he could not help but bury his face on the table, crying sadly. As Drake said, a homewrecker never had a happy ending, and a man homewrecker was even more hateful than a female one. He wanted to steal her away, but his Serena was the loyal girl who had finally got her prince back. From beginning to end, he had never been between the two of them. Numerous facts proved that he was only a joke. He thought he had been waiting for her for more than a decade, which was no more than a joke in other people's lives. Ridiculous. The liquor bottle was thrown away, making a huge noise on the floor as it broke into pieces. Just as Drake took out his key outside, he heard the huge noise inside and suddenly shuddered. Oh my brother. Drake silently swallowed. After opening the door, he saw the dead bodies of the bottle, the glass, and the mobile phone lying on the floor. Shaking his head, he then carefully stepped in, fearing that something would land on his head. Jake came back. Some people were happy, and some were not. Henry was undoubtedly one of the few people who were sad. Sighing inwardly, he had already expected Henry's reaction. However, he didn't expect him to be so angry as to smash things. Did Jake do something to him? With his understanding of Jake in many years, Drake felt it was very likely. He sympathized with Henry even more. Avoiding the debris on the floor, he walked inside and saw Henry wearing the same clothes he wore at work today, with his face on the table. A variety of wine bottles were placed next to him, and they were all from his collection in the study. Damn, after collecting for so long, you just drank them all? Drake deeply realized the extent of his pain. Seeing that the wines that couldn't be bought with money were wasted like that, Drake felt terrible, picked up a few bottles in silence and put them back on the wine rack in the study. After moving 3 batches, there were finally no bottles left. When he reached out and touched Henry, Henry did not move. Drake reached out and removed his hair from his face to find his face was red. Noticing someone was touching him, Henry's eyes opened slightly. His eyes were bloodshot, looking a little scary. Drake was shocked and suddenly felt bad about him. "Hey! Deep love really has happy endings." He took him up and shouted, "Hey, get up! Go back to sleep in the bedroom." Henry's eyes were full of tears and he seized Drake's hand, tight and strong. Drake was shocked. He was about to say something when he heard him calling, "Serena?" Drake was dazed, but then immediately grew annoyed, roaring, "Serena, you buttocks! I'm your Uncle Drake!" "Serena, why?" Henry not only did not let go, but also reached out and hugged him, burying his face in his waist, crying. Drake wanted to push him away, but after hearing his words, he did not have the heart to do it. "Why? What's wrong with me? Why can't you see me? He was dead. Why are you still unwilling to accept me? If we got married sooner, he would have had no chance. Serena." So miserable. Pathetic. Henry, a man who was quite tough working in the IT industry. He was self-reliant with high IQ and EQ, as well as great patience and perseverance. At a young age, he started his own business from scratch and had already enjoyed a certain reputation in Austin. But why did he have to fall in love with a married woman? Although when he fell in love with her, she had not been married. It had been so many years that he should have given up. Drake really couldn't understand it. He bowed his head and patted the guy's face. "It's not that you're not good enough. It's that your timing was bad. She would not belong to you even if you chose to wait."